Good evening, everybody. Sleeting outside right now. It's supposed to turn to snow. We're supposed to get 6 inches or more snow tonight. I don't know. I'm waiting for a call out too, so whatever. My call out shouldn't be for another day and a half, but sometimes getting there can be an adventure. Anyway, I've already poured the whiskey and I've even added the water to that one. I poured these whiskeys at 725. It is currently now just turned 750. What it is a Dewar's blended Scotch whiskey, aged 25 years. It's the signatures, the little title underneath it, and it's double aged for extra smoothness. Now, why Dewar's puts that on there, I don't know, because smoothness is such a subjective. I mean, this whole thing's a subjective thing, but that's a very subjective term, very individualistic. This is batch number 1, exclusive limited edition. It's 40% ABV. It doesn't say nothing about being non-chill filtered or no color added, so we don't know any of that stuff. It's not a very dark whiskey for 25 years, though, I can tell you. Even for a blended Scotch. And so we'll get to that in a minute. But fancy box, real nice fancy box comes in. They blend. The process was they aged for 25 years. I'll read it back to you just a little bit on this. Fine and rare Scotch whiskies from the Dewar's inventory in Scotland are selected to create this intriguing blend. Individual casks of malt and grain Scotch whiskies aged for at least 25 years are carefully blended together. We use a process called marrying to deliver enhanced smoothness, and that's in bold, the whole thing, in the resulting blend. Our signature blend deserves an extra finesse, so following the marriage, I have chosen to further I can't even talk. I have chosen a further period of finishing in casks previously containing Royal Brocla single malt, the first ever Scotch whiskey to be granted royal warrant by the British Crown. So, and Stephanie J. McLeod was the master blender that put this together. Purchased it for $170 some in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I've enjoyed a little bit of it. I mean, as you can tell, I've had drank a fair amount of it, but I've also given it to family. They've drank some too. It's not all me on that. This one is unwatered. This one's a water. It's got about 3 drops of water in this one because it just needs it. Trust me. To my palate, anyway. Now, if we look, you really can't tell anything about the oiliness in this. You just, it slowly develops. It's there, and it just really slow legs. I'm telling you right now. Color-wise, it's more of a golden to light amber. Very apple pear forward, apricots. So it's got a fruit forward nose to it. Think of bay leaf. Think of a sugar crust, a pie crust. There's that pie crust note in it. There's a little nutmeg dwelling there. You do get some of the oak influence too on it, some of the tannin, just a little bit. It's all on the nose. Palate. Now you do get a sense of the oiliness on it now. Once you take the sip and watch the drain back. It is a very oily Scotch. Very viscous mouthfeel on it. Excuse me. The palate is directly driven by the fruitiness in this one. You get some of the oak, but the oak tannins on the palate changes. There's a little pine oil note in this. A little pine note comes along with it. But you do get all the fruits. You get the apple, pear. In fact, I would say apple, then apricot, then pear in this. I mean, those three are very prominent in your palate. Come through very well. The nutmeg, you get a little bit more of the spiciness. It still gets that little spicy floral note to it, somewhat like a bay leaf. It's the best way to describe it. Maybe a little cardamom thrown in there. Something along those lines. There is a vanilla I do detect on this too. The pie crust thing's kind of dialed down so much on the flavor. Better on the nose than the flavor. A baked crust notes much more noticeable on the nose. Finish is done. We're done with this right now. So it's got a rather short finish for what I would think is a 25-year-old should have. I've not had a lot of scotches or blended scotches. I mean, I've had a few this age and older, but not very many. Count them on one hand. That's how few they were. But it's just not. I don't know. It's almost as if it's missing something to my way of thinking. I didn't blend it. I didn't put it together. So what it's missing, I can't tell you. But I feel like there's a hole in there somewhere. That it's something. It should be giving me a little bit more. Everything should carry on a little further into the palate than what that's doing. It's just not doing it. Now with the water's neat because the water really accentuates the oiliness. You can really tell with the addition of the water. And with the water, it becomes a fruit bomb. A complete fruit bomb. I mean, it's your apples, your apricot, pear, vanilla on the nose that I don't get or didn't notice on that one. Still with a little bit of that baked pie crust note. Apple strudel note. I mean, it's your choice. Again, the oiliness really, for the mouthfeel and the oiliness, there's just something missing there. Fruits and more fruits. Spice is almost all gone. I just get mainly fruits with the water. That's all you really get. Ever so much of a hint of nutmeg right now. Just so slight of a hint of it. It loses all that floral notes that I was getting. That doesn't come across either with the water. But it holds together pretty well. It dwells in your mouth pretty good. But again, we're working on the finish right now. There's just not a lot left. This stuff does not hang around long. Mouthfeel, excellent. I mean, this has got a great oily mouthfeel. And for the oily mouthfeel it has, why it's not transferring that into flavor. Maybe it's because it's 40%, and then I've diluted it with 3 drops, probably brought it down to mid-30s, I would guess. It's just not. Is it better than the 12? Because most people out there's had the 12. Let's just put that as a sort of a bellwether, the Dewar's 12. Yes, it is better than the 12. You ain't got carries nearly the heat the 12 does. But is it $140 better than the 12? No. No, it's not. You can fancy package it all up you want. It's not. The Dewar's, the 21, that double that come in the little triangular or hexagonal diamond shaped bottle or whatever, the 500 ml bottle, it's a far cry better than this. Score, it's not horrible, it's not bad. Don't think any of those things. I'm not trying to, it's just what I have in expectations versus what's delivering is the problem here. And I'm going to give it an 85, 86. I'll give it an 86. Because it's definitely drinkable. I definitely enjoy drinking it. It's just not it's not something that I would present to somebody and go, hey, this is a 25. This is really good stuff. No. It has nothing. It's a 25. It's okay. It's good. You just, unless your palate's a lot different than mine and you're more susceptible to some other things than I am, you're going to find it kind of dull in a way. Good, but dull. I don't know. I'll cut it off here. I'm done. Remember, the spirit in your glass isn't running from you. Take your time, sip it, enjoy it. You'll be better for it, as will we all. Thank you, everyone. Everyone be safe out there. If your weather's like mine is tonight, be warm too. I got the fire going. I'll open up the doors after it's done because I didn't want the smoke interfering with that little slight wood smoke burn sensation interfering with the smell on this. I don't get it very bad, but I don't want it there at all. And that's something else I didn't notice. Something else they said on here. It said, a hint of smoke to finish. Nah. They get something different than I do. I don't get it. Later, everyone.